For over a century, Ceratosaurus nasicornis lived in the shadow of the Big Three of the Jurassic. While Allosaurus was celebrated as the lion of the Morrison Formation and Torvosaurus was feared as its heavy-hitting tank, Ceratosaurus was often relegated to the role of a strange, primitive misfit. It was the dinosaur with the odd horn, the outdated four-fingered hands, and a lineage that seemed destined for evolutionary obsolescence. We viewed it as a relic, a biological leftover from an earlier era that somehow survived alongside more advanced predators. But the narrative has shifted with violent force. Breakthroughs in neuroanatomy, high-resolution histological studies of its unique armor, and biomechanical modeling of its tail conducted in late 2025 have completely dismantled the primitive label. We are no longer looking at a second-tier predator. Instead, we are uncovering a highly specialized, semi-aquatic ambush master that possessed sensory systems and defensive adaptations unlike any other large theropod in history. This is the story of how Ceratosaurus reclaimed its throne as the most unique predator of the Jurassic. The most iconic feature of Ceratosaurus is the prominent horn core on its snout. For decades, the debate raged. Was it a weapon for interspecies combat or a tool for defense? Early reconstructions often depicted Ceratosaurus ramming its horn into the flanks of sauropods or using it to headbutt rivals. However, recent CT scans of the internal bone structure of the horn conducted in 2024 and 2025 have revealed a surprising truth. The horn was not a solid, weight-bearing weapon. Instead, it was a hollow, highly vascularized structure that would have been covered in a keratinous sheath, likely vibrantly colored. The presence of dense networks of blood vessels suggests that the horn served two primary purposes: thermoregulation and social signaling. New 3D modeling of the Ceratosaurus skull shows that the horn was too fragile to withstand the immense mechanical stress of high-impact ramming. Instead, the horn was an evolutionary billboard. It allowed individuals to recognize one another from a distance, and likely played a critical role in courtship rituals. In the humid, densely forested floodplains of the Jurassic, a brightly colored horn would have been a vital signal, reducing the need for physical confrontation. Ceratosaurus was not a mindless brawler. It was a creature that used visual communication to navigate its social hierarchy. One of the most startling features of Ceratosaurus is that it is the only known large theropod to possess a row of dermal armor, or osteoderms, running down its back. For a long time, these were dismissed as simple, decorative bumps. However, a groundbreaking histological study in late 2025 has revealed that these osteoderms were far more complex than previously imagined. By analyzing the microscopic bone tissue within these plates, researchers discovered a structure similar to that of the ankylosaurs we discussed previously. The osteoderms of Ceratosaurus were reinforced with a web of collagen fibers, providing a layer of protection against the bite forces of its rivals. This was not a purely offensive animal. It was an armored predator. This row of bony plates served as a defense of last resort against the hatchet-bite of an attacking Allosaurus. In a world where predators frequently fought over carcasses, Ceratosaurus was built to take a hit. This discovery fundamentally changes our understanding of theropod evolution, proving that armor was not exclusive to herbivores. Ceratosaurus was a pioneer of the armored predator niche, a design that would not be seen again in such a specialized form for millions of years. Perhaps the most revolutionary discovery of the last 2 years concerns the postcranial anatomy of Ceratosaurus, specifically its tail. For over a century, we assumed Ceratosaurus hunted like any other theropod, running down prey on open ground. However, new biomechanical comparisons between Ceratosaurus and modern crocodilians have turned this theory on its head. Ceratosaurus possessed an unusually deep tail, characterized by tall neural spines and elongated chevrons. This created a broad, blade-like surface area. In 2025, researchers used fluid dynamics simulations to test the efficiency of this tail in water. The results were undeniable. Ceratosaurus was a powerful swimmer. Its tail was designed for lateral undulation, the same side-to-side motion used by crocodiles to propel themselves through water. This suggests that Ceratosaurus was the crocodile of the Jurassic floodplains. While Allosaurus and Torvosaurus dominated the dry uplands, Ceratosaurus likely spent much of its time in or near the water. Its teeth, which were exceptionally long and blade-like, were perfectly suited for gripping slippery, aquatic prey like lungfish or turtles, as well as ambushing terrestrial herbivores that came to the water's edge to drink. This semi-aquatic lifestyle explains how three massive predators could coexist in the same environment. They weren't competing for the same space. The primitive tag often applied to Ceratosaurus suggested it had a simple, underdeveloped brain. New high-resolution CT scans of the brain case of specimen MWC-1 have proven this entirely false. The 2025 neuroanatomical data reveals a brain that was highly specialized for a very specific hunting style. The inner ear structure of Ceratosaurus shows a massive development in the semicircular canals, which are responsible for balance and the ability to track moving objects with the eyes while the head is in motion. More importantly, the flocculus, a part of the brain that coordinates head, eye, and neck movements, was significantly larger than that of Allosaurus. This indicates that Ceratosaurus was a precision hunter. While Allosaurus relied on a wide, sweeping bite, Ceratosaurus likely used rapid, surgical strikes with its oversized teeth. Its brain was wired for high-speed head movements, allowing it to snatch fast-moving prey in the water or deliver a lethal, targeted bite to the throat of an herbivore. It wasn't less evolved than its neighbors. It was evolved for a different kind of lethality. One of the anatomical features that led scientists to label Ceratosaurus as primitive was its four-fingered hand. Most advanced theropods of the late Jurassic had reduced their hands to 3 fingers. For a long time, we viewed the fourth finger of Ceratosaurus as a useless vestige of its ancestors. However, new analysis of the muscle attachment points on the humerus and forearm has suggested a different function. The fourth finger, while smaller, contributed to a wider, more powerful grip. When combined with its robust forelimbs, this suggests that Ceratosaurus used its arms to grapple and pin down struggling prey. In a semi-aquatic environment, where prey might be slippery or trying to escape back into deep water, the ability to hook and hold on was vital. The four-fingered hand wasn't a failure to evolve. It was a specialized tool for a predator that needed to latch onto its victims with maximum stability. Ceratosaurus was a wrestler of the Jurassic riverbanks. The greatest mystery of the Morrison Formation has always been how so many giant predators lived together without driving each other to extinction. The 2025 findings provide the final piece of the puzzle: niche partitioning. Through isotopic analysis of their teeth, researchers have found that Ceratosaurus had a distinct diet compared to Allosaurus. While Allosaurus was feeding heavily on the massive sauropods and armored Stegosaurus, Ceratosaurus had a chemical signature that pointed toward a diet of softer-bodied prey and aquatic animals. This confirms that Ceratosaurus was an edge predator. It lived on the boundary between land and water. By specializing in a niche that the larger Torvosaurus and more numerous Allosaurus ignored, Ceratosaurus ensured its survival for millions of years. It was a masterpiece of ecological efficiency, proving that you don't have to be the biggest or the most common to be a winner in the game of evolution. The skull of Ceratosaurus is a marvel of biological weight saving. While it carried massive teeth and a prominent horn, the skull was filled with large openings called fenestrae. These openings reduced the weight of the skull without sacrificing strength, allowing for the rapid head movements we identified in the neuroanatomical scans. Furthermore, the 2025 studies have highlighted the extreme length of the maxillary teeth. These teeth were so long that they actually extended below the lower jawline when the mouth was closed. This saber-toothed appearance was not just for show. These teeth allowed Ceratosaurus to penetrate deep into the soft tissue of its prey, reaching vital organs or major blood vessels with a single bite. In an ambush scenario, where the predator only has one chance to disable its victim, these elongated blades were the ultimate finishing tool. With the discovery of its advanced nasal passages and potential for infrasonic communication, the image of Ceratosaurus as a lonely wanderer has vanished. Like the ankylosaurs, Ceratosaurus likely used low-frequency vocalizations to maintain territories along the river systems. The Jurassic floodplains would have echoed with the deep, vibrating calls of these horned predators. These sounds could travel through the water and the dense fern prairies, allowing Ceratosaurus to announce its presence to rivals and attract mates without ever leaving its preferred ambush spot. They lived in a world of complex sound and color, a far cry from the silent gray monsters of early paleontology. The era of Ceratosaurus eventually came to an end as the world transitioned into the Cretaceous, but its design was far from a failure. The lineage of the Ceratosauria continued to thrive in the southern hemisphere, giving rise to the terrifying abelisaurids like Carnotaurus. These descendants took the horned predator blueprint to even greater extremes, proving that the foundations laid by Ceratosaurus were among the most successful in dinosaur history. Today, Ceratosaurus stands as a testament to the complexity of prehistoric ecosystems. It reminds us that every feature, from a row of backplates to a nasal horn, has a purpose. It was an animal of balance, between land and water, between defense and offense, and between social signaling and raw power. The misfit of the Jurassic has finally been revealed for what it truly was, a highly tuned, armored, semi-aquatic masterpiece. The study of Ceratosaurus is currently providing vital data for marine biologists and biomechanical engineers. The way its tail generates thrust is being used to design more efficient underwater drones, while the vascular structure of its horn is offering new insights into how large animals manage heat in tropical environments. As science continues to catch up to the brilliance of these ancient organisms, we realize that Ceratosaurus was never a primitive relic. It was a high-performance specialist that solved the problems of its environment with a unique set of biological tools. It challenges us to look beyond the obvious and to appreciate the sophisticated weirdness of nature.